Thank you so much for serving for Easter this weekend. We have several services over the course of 3 days, and I'm so excited about what God is going to do during this time this weekend. When you come this weekend to serve, please make sure that you arrive in time to get your name tag, your lanyard, and check in room 206 before our huddle. All of the huddles will start 30 minutes before the service time, so make sure you arrive with enough time to take care of those things before our huddles. This weekend, a lot of people are going to be back for the first time since we've regathered, and we need to help manage some of those expectations for people, right? We've talked about this all along, that when people come back into the building, they're going to expect things to be the same as they were when they left a year ago, but a lot of things have changed. Our physical spaces have changed. Some of the ways that we do things procedurally have changed, and so as people come into the space and maybe are met with some of those expectations in a way different than they expected, let's help walk them through that. If they're sad, let's meet them in their sadness. If they're happy, let's meet them in their happiness. But just be prepared as a Connections team to do that. And just as a reminder, if anybody asks, that we are in compliance with all of the MDH and CDC rules. And so if anyone has questions about any of those things or are uncomfortable with how we're doing things, you can send them to myself or any other staff member. We'd be happy to have those conversations. And again, that we will be asking people to wear masks, but that you as the Connections team are not responsible for enforcing that. So if someone takes their mask off, or if someone has a question about things, again, find someone that's on our staff and we'll answer those questions for those people or deal with those things. We are expecting a really large turnout this weekend, and what an amazing thing that is. What an amazing privilege to be able to serve people in this way. And just as a reminder that some of the people that are coming through our doors, this is the first time they've been to church, maybe in a year, but maybe in much longer than that. And we want to make sure that we're greeting everyone that walks through these doors like we are really glad that they're here. All of us have people that we pray for, that we hope will show up in the church this weekend and will hear the gospel. And so let's welcome everyone who walks through the doors like we hope the people we're praying for are welcomed wherever they attend church this weekend. Ushers, thank you so much for serving this weekend. You have a key role in making sure that everyone has a good experience. So there are a few things you need to know for this weekend to be successful. After our volunteer huddles, please check in with Jim Satterberg. He will have an assigned spot for you to serve in, and he'll show you where on the map he needs you to be. But at each entry into each of our venues, there are going to be sets of ushers that are working essentially to do the same thing. So one usher needs to remain posted at the door, and as people come in, you can let them know that they're welcome to seat themselves, but to please be respectful of the space around them, but also that we have a lot of people coming this weekend, and so ushers may need to adjust them. So as people come in, they're going to grab a packet on Saturday or Sunday, but on Friday night it'll be communion, and inside the packet is a response card and a pen. And so every person who comes in, not one per family, every individual who walks in should grab a packet and then be encouraged to seat themselves. So as they move in to the worship center, there'll be a second usher who's stationed down the aisle. This usher's role is not to tell people where to sit, but instead to show them opportunities where seats are open and then to help move people around. Thanks, Tony. So as people are seated, go ahead and sit down. In the space, a lot of times people will choose to sit on the end of the aisle first before they move in. And as more and more people are coming in, it's totally appropriate for you to ask people to adjust where they're sitting. Tony, would you mind moving to the center of the aisle? If people don't want to do what you're asking them to do, it's okay to move around that. That's fine, but would you mind standing up for a moment so these people can move to the center of the aisle? People will hopefully be willing to cooperate and will be polite and pleasant, but again, if you have trouble with anyone, don't hesitate to come and find me or Jim or one of the other captains to help you work that problem. After services, or once your section is full, we're going to close the doors to your section. So we'll close the doors, and one of the ushers will stay here. Close these. One of the ushers will stay here and stand at the door to let people know that this section is full and redirect them to another section where they can find another seat. The second usher that's at that spot should move to a new location. So whether that's over to the great room to help with seating there, or to our overflow in the chapel to help facilitate seating there. Shouldn't ever have two ushers staying stationary at an area that's closed. We want to make sure that we're moving so that we're moving with people so we can seat them well and efficiently. After the services, there will be empty buckets where you can collect the response cards and also the pens and the empty bags. So you'll need to be stationed outside of your door after the service to help collect those things, and then move through the venue to collect any things that have been left behind by people. If you have anyone who said yes to Jesus or is a new guest, be sure to walk them to the next step station where you'll find a pastor and a connections volunteer who can talk with either of those groups of people to help them ensure that they get the proper follow-up for the next step that they have chosen to take. Between services, Jim Satterberg and the usher captains will collect the offering from all of the offering boxes, and then myself and possibly one or two other staff members will come around and collect all the response cards. So those will be collected between each service so that we can have a fresh start for the next service. Thanks so much for serving as an usher this weekend. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.